Good afternoon, all. Camelback Trading 2724 coming to you this Tuesday afternoon, May 12th. We are looking at the last 3 days of the market profile of the SPY ETF here on Window Trader. And the carnage continues here after hours as the bulls turn what possibly looked like a day where they can go for last month's high, come out of an inside month to the upside after taking out a poor high yesterday, only 60 cents away from the monthly high, only to come back in. If you just try to look at this first for a minute, A through here looked like a B shape was forming, 8 for 8 wide. Now I've seen 6 for 6 and 7 for 7 wide go trend. I can't remember I've seen an 8 for 8 wide or more go trend. Looked like a B shape for long liquidation was forming. I even said, well, we need to fill out the bottom of this to get a chance for the B shape, and I would possibly fade any new low. And look what happened. We go from 8 for 8 wide and a rotational day to a trend day down, price spike, H is low, single prints, price probe, and the most importantly, outside day down where we took out the previous day's high and closed below the previous day's low. We get right back down. We traded 294.24 today. We plow right down to the 287 level again and closed just below it at 286.67. We're trading $1 lower from there right now. I had a decent day, far from anything spectacular, but I'll tell you what, on a day like today, I'm more than happy with that because this was not the easiest day to trade. Okay? It was lulling you to sleep with this 8 for 8 wide. It looked like a day to fade, either a new high below the opening above D or a new low. But boy, did that change on a dime. The only saving grace for the bulls, volume right now 85 million, still doing pretty decent volume afterwards, but still it's only going to be about 90, possibly 95. It still will be the best volume we've had recently, but still nothing great. But here's the problem. Yes, I still believe it was short-term. Well, it was definitely short-term traders throughout this whole part of the day early on. Now the question is, did it bring in longer-term traders? Now, I think just one time frame is too early to tell that, but we will know tomorrow. Now, price probes have been regularly rejected, especially on the downside. This one's a little different. Because of the outside day down. Value was unchanged a good part of the day and then went overlapping to lower. POC got low to as low as it can go, but again, never got to 9 wide. So this is not what the bulls wanted to see after getting to the top of a balance. Now, this is like a 22, 23-day balance. Maybe that's all they wanted to do. They got up to 294.24. The top of the balance is 294.88, I believe. 88. So they got to within 64 cents of it. Balance rules. You get to the top of a balance, don't get to it, roll over. Well, they certainly rolled over. So it remains to be seen going forward how bad a dent they put in their upward movement, the bulls, as far as my trades today. And the funny thing was I was looking for shorts throughout the day just to take out the day's low. And I struggled. So my first try, I didn't do anything in A. Now, I did say in the video this morning, if we don't take out yesterday's high, we get above it and get accepted back in. If you get into M period, the odds are you're going to trade all of M period. It did that. It did that and more. Now, I did not take that trade because, number one, the trades inside of value are your worst risk reward. Number two, we had the single prints underneath. So early on in my head, value was overlapping a high just briefly. Then it went unchanged. I was kind of looking to see if we were going to hold here, especially since we took out the high. Maybe get long around the single prints and go up. Well, guess what? As it kept going down, I just stayed out of the way. Didn't short it, but I certainly didn't get in the way. I did nothing in B. When C started, I said if C takes B's low out, I will take the short just to get the day's low. Well, I did that, and it immediately went against me. And I took good size to start, and it went back up, added double the size, and then fortunately came back down and made a new low in C, got out of all of it for a profit, because then we had a reversal bar. We had 2 more reversal bars today. C taking out B's low and high. J's taking out, not J, was it J? I believe it was J. I'm in 6 tick increments. J taking out I's high and I's low. They're becoming, they used to be rare on it at all. Now they're becoming routine, at least 1 a day up to 3 a day. We had 2 today. My next trade again was in E. I wanted to take the short. I said, I don't know how much we're going to get below the opening. So if we take out D's low, I want to short it. And that's what I did. I got something out of it, but again, nothing spectacular. Couldn't even get down to C's low. Then I said, if we make a new low, I would look to fade it. I said I would like to see it get back into A's range prior to doing that. But if we get no tempo to the downside, I'll get long. Well, we took out A's low and H. We didn't get a lot of tempo initially, so I bought some contracts. Not a lot, 20. And then H decided to accelerate. Now, I only had 20. I was getting hurt, but not a lot. I did not add an H at all. The key to me was I. I said if I does not take out H's low, there's a good chance we should fill single prints and come back into the day's range. So when I opened and didn't take out H's low, every time when it went up and came back, I added, took off, came back, added, took off. I did that 3 times. So by the time it got back to where I initially went long, I was in great shape. And then J opened. I did the same thing in J. J popped eyes high, filled the singles. I was out. Turned out to be a good trade. I was not thrilled at all with the lack of follow-through by J. Barely got into A's range and then rolled over. So I started watching. I said, that fading game is over for me. However, in J and K and initially in L, if you faded it, it came back for you. It came back better than it did initially when I did it. But something had changed, right? Yes, we stopped the one-time framing down in J, but the tempo there was horrible, but the tempo on the downside was horrible. And then M opened, and all hell broke loose. I did take 1 short play in M, nothing big. It was towards the lower end. It rallied a little bit. I was looking for it to rally back to around L's low to take a decent-sized put play. It never gave me that opportunity. So the lower it went, the less of a trade I was going to take. And when we finally rallied a little bit, took a trade, wrote it down, it turned out to be a decent trade. So a good day, but nothing great and absolutely bizarre price action. Basically, we have a triple distribution. We have the upper end. We have H, where the single prints got filled. The second half, and then we have the single prints and down to here. Very weird. Okay, upside destinations. First one will be L's low of 289.56, which is a price probe. Then I'm using H's low, right? Because we made a new low in J period. If we close below it, I was going to use it as a price spike. I take that back. First, we have our single prints. 289.90. M's high to 290.24. K's low. Trend day. We do have a trend day. Then we have the price spike of 290.50. H's low. Then we have the afternoon rally high. J's high of 291.56. And today's high of 292.24. For the downside, we have today's low of 286.52. Then we have 286.41, which is 11 wide from May 6th, right here. We've traded over this, below it, everything, so it's a naked POC. I know they hit it in the ES and N period. I don't count that. Right now, we're trading down at 285.50, but again, unless we get it in regular trade now, it might become an upside destination if we gap below it tomorrow. And then below that, we don't have anything to 283.78, which is the daily low from that day. And below that, 283.40 price probe from the 4th. Remember, we had all those, remember I said all those destinations from the 4th were important to hold, or we're going to see the low 270s? I said that last week. We went from obviously not getting into them up to 292.40. And guess what? They're back in play. So let's go over the charts now, because things are getting very, very interesting. So, monthly. Still above the trend line for now. Still an inside month. Boy, they got close to it. We got to within 64 cents of coming out of an inside month to the upside. Didn't do it yet. Weekly. Take out last week's high. So we took out last week's low the previous week. So we're firmly in a 3-week balance. Balance rules, right? The top of that balance is 294.88. We got to 294.24 and closed at 286.67. So not only did we fail at the top of the balance, right now we're below the 287. One day doesn't make a market, but the bulls better regroup fast, because if not, and we stay below there, 279.13 is going to come into sight for the downside. And what the bulls do not want to see is an outside week down. That would be bearish. It's bad enough we have an outside day down. Balance rules. We got to the top, failed, starting to roll over. Daily. Outside day down. We took out the previous day's high, closed below the previous day's low by $3, over $3, right? 289.88, we closed at 286.67. Over $3 we closed below it. So firmly an outside day down. 20-somewhat day balance. This 2-day balance wiped out. Next goal for the Bears is this 3-day balance, 283.78. You get that? Then the big one, 279.13, which is the bottom of last week's low. Very, very poor performance by the bulls today. Now, again, I don't like to put too much emphasis on one day. So it remains to be seen. Is this just week longs getting out? Will this attract longer-term sellers, right? Maybe we had no long-term sellers because they thought the odds of us taking out last month's high were pretty good. So why sell it lower when they may get an opportunity if we pop last month's high? That makes sense, right? But now that we failed up there, and if we don't come back tomorrow, maybe you do attract the longer-term sellers now again at this level. Not the easiest day to trade. I did a lot of explaining throughout the day in my trading room. Kept people out of a lot of trouble on the long side in M period. We do some really good things in there with educating. There's some good traders, excellent traders, from novice to experience. Come check us out, camelbacktrading.org. Have a great night, and I'll speak to you prior to the opening tomorrow.